I hope that this topic will be very fruitful to the field vets. I am sharing my personal experience with regard to sheep and goat. But one thing here I want to mention that in our college clinics that we rarely get the clinical case of sheep, as sheep is not a milk animal. But whenever there is some outbreak of any infectious diseases, then the sheep live and dead are presented for diagnosis purpose. But we got large number of clinical cases of these in reports. So as far as today's topic is concerned, that is diagnostic, therapeutic, and control measures of common diseases which I have seen in sheep and goat in Rajasthan. I think everybody know because for the field veterinarian, what is clinical diagnosis, and know that process of identifying a disease based on clinical sign, history, and physical exam. What is laboratory diagnosis? A diagnosis is based significantly on laboratory reports. These are some steps which we require for diagnosis, that is taking appropriate history, clinical signs, and collecting relevant data from the owner of the sheep or goat or flock owner. Then after taking history signs, then we carried out the physical examination, that is temperature, pulse, respiration, auscultation of the lung, hearts, rumen, intestine. Then generating a provisional and differential diagnosis. For differential diagnosis, a field vet or whoever is concerned with this industry, particularly for diseases, we must know all the diseases and what is their status in India. Because as I next slide, you will find that there are some problems with what is the status of different diseases with respect to infectious diseases in India. Then we have to reach a final diagnosis, and there is no agitation if we consult some senior or junior, because with consultation we can reach to a correct diagnosis. In more than 90% clinic cases, initial diagnosis is made based on history, clinical sign, and physical examination, and we start the treatment. If animal respond to treatment, means our diagnosis or a diagnosis made by field vet was correct. However, in non-responsive cases, diagnosis is made using the following laboratory tests. So these are the some common tests which that it is not possible for field vet to carry out all these tests, but some tests he can carry out. That is, first is most important is CBC, that is complete blood count, which mostly comprises RBC, WBC, hemoglobin, pep cell volume, and DLC. See, RBC, hemoglobin, pep cell volume gives some indication about the anemic state of the animal. As you know that our animals suffer in large number with parasitic diseases and protozoan diseases, which causes anemia. And when there is anemia, and severe anemia, the prognosis is also grave. So CBC will help us in a way. What is the status of RBC, hemoglobin, and PCV? And WBC helps in differentiating to some extent if there is a neutropenia or lymphopenia. Generally, in bacterial infection, the total leukocyte counts and neutrophil increases, whereas in viral diseases, first there is increase in lymphocyte, then there is a decrease in lymphocyte. And DLC, that is differential leukocyte count, along with examination of the sphere, is also very helpful because we have a lot of protozoan diseases. Though we can diagnose with clinical signs, but sometimes required the sphere examination thoroughly. The fecal and urine examination are also very important because if fecal examination is not carried out, because there is a large number of nematodes, cystodes, and termitodes in our sheep and goat population, and they causes economic losses in terms of loss of body weight, poor condition, and urine examination help in condition where there is a urinary tract infection diseases. We have a large number of skin diseases also, like veins, tick problem, mites, and fungal infection. So we tick and it is visible with eye, but whereas mites and fungi they require scraping examination, and milk examination is required for mastitis, etc., particularly for subclinical mastitis. Then culture and sensitivity test of milk is very important because I think in large animal, this mastitis is a big, that is highly economical. This one disease which causes large economic losses to the farmers to the tune of 14,000 crore, that is cattle and buffalo. What is this status of this mastitis in our sheep and goat, and what is the economic losses, that I don't know. But hope we will, this group will able to collect the information correct. What is the status of mastitis in sheep and goat? Then if we carried out culture of the milk and then sensitivity, then our treatment will be more effective because there is a problem of antibiotic resistance problem, that sometimes the drugs, the antibiotic does not work. But again, the culture examination requires 48 hours, but we start our treatment at the time of presentation. So if in a flock this is a problem, then we can carry out culture of milk, blood, and urine. Then isolation and identification of organism is also very essential. Otherwise, we will not be able to declare any disease, which bacteria is responsible, which virus. For these special labs are required, but parasite to some extent, if at a field lab laboratory we can examine, and we can also examine the protozoa. And as you know that the serum biochemistry also plays a major roles, but how much our field work carried out, but in other species, because in our sheep and goat we have a liver fluid problems that indicate what damage it has caused. Liver function test, that is we called it an organ function test, is very important for diagnosis of diseases, for example SCOT, SGPT, etc. Similarly, for kidney disease, one must know what are the renal function tests, so we should carry out blood urea nitrogen, serum creatinine. Then further for diagnosis, these serological tests are also very essential. And now, as we are a member of this OIE, that is World Organization for Animal Health, where they have specified some reference laboratory for various tests. So these tests, ELISA test, agglutination test, say for brucellosis, we can screening road Bengal test, plate or tube agglutination test, or ELISA test. And nowadays, for easy diagnosis, because culture require a long time, so this technique, molecular technique, we can carry it out very fast, as you have seen in Corona-19, that we take the sample in the morning and in the evening there is a confirmation report. So these RT-PCR techniques are very helpful for diagnosis of infectious diseases as well as for meat identification. That because nowadays the adulteration of meat, so these techniques help whether it is a sheep meat or goat meat or adulterated with other species. So that we can only diagnose with molecular technique. And there are also some poisoning cases in our sheep and goat in other animals. So a toxicologist is required. He can able to know what kind of poisoning is there. But then these are some modern tool for diagnosis of diseases like ultrasonography, MRI, radiography, CT scan, use of radioisotope. But their application in sheep and goat, I don't know at what extent they will help. But as far as diagnosis is concerned, we must know these are some techniques. Now, the diseases can be classified in two ways. There are two types of diseases: infectious and contagious, and non-infectious. So a field vet must know what is infectious, contagious, and non-infectious diseases. Non-infectious diseases comprises systematic diseases, deficiency diseases, metabolic disease. And in systematic disease, as you know that we have a different system in our body: digestive system, respiratory system, urinary system, musculoskeletal system, cardiovascular system. For example, in digestive system, we have a common problem of simple indigestion, tympani in sheep and goat. In respiratory, we have upper respiratory tract, lower respiratory tract, pneumonia, etc. Then urinary system, we have a urolic problem in goats, and retention, cystitis, etc. Musculoskeletal system comprises wellness, cardiovascular diseases are very less. But this is one system we must think for it. The number of cardiovascular system diseases are very less and diagnosed also not easily. That diseases of nervous system we see so many times, meningitis, encephalitis, nervous sign in animals, particularly in sheep and goat also, as in other animals. Then we have seen diseases of skin, eye, conjunctiva, external ear, and diseases of the mammary glands. And in sheep and goat, there is a large number of deficiency diseases, that is deficiency of vitamins, particularly in Rajasthan, there is a problem of vitamin A deficiency because the availability of vitamin A to the animal is very less. And macro and micro minerals, vitamins include, there is a problem of vitamin B deficiency in our livestock. It is a secondary deficiency in the trunks that we know that ruminant synthesize adequate amount of B complex, but due to presence of such factor like thymidine enzymes. So primarily vitamin B1 is diseases. As I told you that it varies from area to area, but in Rajasthan we have a vitamin A deficiency. Particularly, this causes night blindness in our animals. Calcium deficiency is also there. Zinc deficiency is also there in our area. So there is some thing causes skin problem. Copper deficiency is more common in goats than magnesium deficiency. Then, what is the definition of infectious and contagious diseases? As you know that all contagious diseases are infectious, but all infectious diseases are not contagious. So, infectious and contagious diseases can be transmitted from one animal to another. So, large population are affected with infectious diseases when there is an outbreak, but contagious diseases, they spread very rapidly. Non-infectious diseases cannot be spread from one animal to another animal. One example is tympani. There are so many examples. Then, for just references that it sheep and goat, what are the infectious diseases caused by various bacteria? In our area, we have a large outbreak every year, enterotoxemia, sporadic cases of tetanus. Brucellosis is also a major genetic problem in sheep population. Paratuberculosis in our area is also a problem. Tuberculosis, some sporadic cases we have seen because in human beings this is a problem. Listeriosis I have not seen in our area, but in south this leptospirosis and listeriosis is there. But as I told you, diseases varies from area to area. As far as viruses are concerned, we have an outbreak in our sheep and goat population every year. PPA, because proper vaccination is not carried out. Sheeppox is outbreak is there, goatpox is there. Very few cases of flu-dom, but when seroprevalence is carried out, it is present in large animal also. Sporadic cases of rabies because we have a stray population of dog in every city, and contagious eczema is also a problem in goats. Then mycoplasma is also major problems as our pneumonia is concerned, caused by this contagious capillary pneumonia, and mastitis is also caused by mycoplasma. Chlamydial abortion is there in sporadic cases. Some fungal infection is also there due to this. Otherwise, our climate is dry. Then, as far as protozoa is concerned, we have a problem of babesiosis. Particularly, I have seen cases Babesia taylori, and coccidiosis is a problem of young one because it is a self-limiting disease in adults. Then, as far as external parasite is concerned, we have a sporadic cases of mange and lice infestation in sheep and goat, but we have a major problem of internal parasite because we carried out carried out surveillance, not zero surveillance, but survey. When we collect the fecal sample from slaughterhouses or from flocks owner, there is a nematode, trematode, and cystode. All the three internal parasites are there. As far as there is one disease in sheep and goat, that is prion, and the disease is scrappy. I think everyone knows prion is a small virus-like particle devoid of nucleic acid. But here one thing is very interesting, I don't know. Though India is free from prion, we have two diseases. One is red cow disease and another is scrappy. But prion disease is present in human beings. Then question arises from where the human gets this prion, that is Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease is present or confirmed in human population. I don't know, but there is no report of scrappy in sheep and goat, and in cattle and buffalo there is no report of mad cow disease. Then we see this Q fever disease, non-clinical disease, not much problem. In India, exact status of various infectious diseases of animals are not known, as our reporting system of animal diseases is insufficient. You can say what is the is inadequate or reporting system is so poor that we don't know. But there is one act by, as per Government of India, has introduced in 2009, that is prevention and control of infectious and contagious diseases in animals, in which the following diseases of sheep and goat are reported. I don't know in how many states these diseases are reported to higher up, that is anthrax, FMD, leptospirosis, caprine arthritis, encephalitis, contagious agalexia, CCPP, BD, Vishna, scrappy, seapox, goatpox, gluten, brucellosis, paratuberculosis, rabies, ovine chlamydosis, rinderpest. Rinderpest is now India is free from rinderpest, but it is included in the act. Our neighbor countries are not free from rinderpest. EPR is there and salmonella. Sheep and goats are important components of livestock sector. They provide livelihood to poor livestock owners and food security in human population. As per 20th livestock census, out of 5.35 million livestock, goat comprises 148.88 million, whereas sheep comprises 74.26 million. Rajasthan has goat population of 28.4 million and sheep population 7.9 million. And every day there is 30 to 40,000 of sheep and goat are taken from Rajasthan to the other state for meat purpose or export to Middle East country. India, as far as I know, that most of the sheep and goats are maintained on pasture only. Nowadays, people have some interest. They have started intensive farming. Even in the Bikaner, in outskirts of Bikaner, some people have come up to, because as in the Rajasthan, this goat meat is costliest. So people have interest and you can get a good money. Otherwise, the most practice, the sheep and goat, average body weight is hardly 20 to 30 kg. But some in local people, they raise the male for meat purpose. Their body weight is 50 to 60 kg. Otherwise, they go in the grazing for morning and return back in the evening. Pastured sheep and goat are not fed concentrate, as far as I know, because I have asked from so many flock owners that we don't provide any concentrate to our animals. So this is the one reason they don't get the adequate body weight, and so we call it a zero input. In Rajasthan, every year in the month of March, April, sheep and goat are migrated to Haryana, Punjab, and Madhya Pradesh and return back after rainy season, because during these 3 months there is a scarcity of pasture in the grazing area. So they go to neighboring state, and after rainy season, when there is availability of green in the field, they return back. Some people in the city raise goats for milk purpose for their family need. Otherwise, For meat purposes, they get the sheep and goat from the flock. In Rajasthan, there is no demand for sheep and goat milk for human consumption because state has already surplus milk of cattle and buffalo. Again, as I told you, that the occurrence of animal disease depends on climatic conditions, which comprises temperature, rainy season, number of diseases, winter, cold climate. So it varies. Occurrence of disease varies from month to month. In winter, we will find large number of pneumonic cases as compared to summer. Similarly, nutrition also plays a major role. As you know that our India is deficient as far as total livestock is concerned, that we are about 45% insufficient concentrate for our animals. About 40% there is a deficiency of green and about 30% deficiency of fodder, dry fodder, because we are feeding our livestock, whether it is cattle, buffalo, or whatever animals we are raising for this crop residue is provided. In India, not availability of sufficient quantity and poor quality of feed and fodder is responsible for poor growth of animals, particularly sheep and goat, and causes many digestive disorders and nutritional diseases. Now I come to diseases of mammary glands, that is mastitis. And you know that mastitis is inflammation of the parenchyma of the udder, physical, chemical, and microbial changes in the milk, and pathological changes in the glandular tissue. It has been classified in various ways, that in various books you will find that there are two types of mastitis, clinical and subclinical. The difference between clinical and subclinical mastitis, that in clinical mastitis, the symptoms are visible clearly with the eye. That is, there is a swelling of the udder, it is hot, painful. But in subclinical mastitis, only one sign is present, that is, there is a decrease in production. If any owner comes with history that the milk production has decreased, it means you can suspect it for subclinical mastitis, but there are some tests as we practice in large animal, cattle and buffalo, like California mastitis test, or they are called bedside test, or at the spot of at the time of animal. Then in some book there is a peracute, acute, subacute, and chronic mastitis. Latent mastitis means when the infection is there but no clinical sign. Summer mastitis has been also reported. Allergic mastitis has been also reported in the court. Summer mastitis, as per season, it occurs in the summertime during dry period. Some cases of allergic mastitis which responds to this antihistamine or steroid, so they have given the name as an allergic mastitis. As far as etiology of clinical mastitis is concerned, there are some organisms, that is Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, Klebsiella, Mannheimia golitica, Actinobacillus equine. Then etiology of some clinical mastitis, that is populus negative Staphylococcus aureus. The difference between populus negative and populus positive, that the CNS are present on the body and they enter through the steam opening, both the organisms. But the Staphylococcus aureus is more serious than the CNS, but the number of CNS is higher than they cause the subclinical or even clinical mastitis. And Mycoplasma agalexi is also responsible. Mycoplasma mycoids. Then Streptococcus zooepidermis, it causes chronic suppurative mastitis in goat. Then Pseudomonas mastitis in goat causes extensive necrosis and fetal septicemia. Summer mastitis is caused by Pucerella python. It causes suppurative mastitis. Non-lactating goat. Now this is the difference, that non-lactating goats develop severe mastitis, whereas lactating goats develop less mastitis as far as Pucerella python is concerned. The clinical signs of mastitis include swelling of the udder, painful udder, changes in the color of milk, watery appearance of flax, blood in fluid. In gangrenous mastitis, that I will show you some picture which I have taken in my clinics, that is gangrenous mastitis, there is increased displacement of the udder, necrosis, and even sloughing of the affected. Allergic mastitis, cause is not known, but response to antihistamine and hydrocortisone. That is why it has been given allergic mastitis. Then diagnosis is concerned. Clinical mastitis, no problem. By clinical sign, you can diagnose. For subclinical mastitis, the CMT, California mastitis test that can be carried out. Then somatic cell count, there is a decrease in milk production. Somatic cell counts are higher as compared to cattle and buffalo. So generally nowadays in cattle and buffalo we consider 5 lakhs somatic cell as a safe, whereas in goat its number may be more than 5 lakhs. Treatment, antimicrobial therapy is carried out. Antimicrobial intramammary tube containing so many drugs are now available in the market. Then non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs, dextrose and electrolyte therapy, and control requires sanimetric or hygienic measures. Then there is another problem, that is contagious agalexia in sheep and goat caused by Mycoplasma agalexi, Mycoplasma mycoides, transmission by aerosol ingestion and contact with fomites. Symptoms: sudden onset, pyrexia, abrupt and complete agalexia. If there is no milk from animals, it is a disease, is contagious agalexia caused by these above two mentioned microbes, that is Mycoplasma is most common. There is a swelling of the udder, enlargement of the mammary lymph nodes, development of multiple abscesses in the mammary glands that you can examine. Then there is the induration of the udder, arthritis, lameness, conjunctivitis, progress to keratitis, and corneal revascularization in one or both eyes. Some cases have diarrhea also in mastitis. In the less acute cases, long period of illness for 1 to 7 months, because they are neither the owner care for it. So when there is a problem, then he will bring it out. In some outbreak, abortion, vulvovaginitis, and metritis. Again, this is a major problem, that isolation of organism is important. Otherwise, our treatment is not effective as we think. As even in cattle and buffalo, the recovery rate with mastitis is very poor. That is, 50% cases does not respond if we don't carry out isolation of the organism. So some in farms, they culture the organism and give the antibiotic as per sensitivity. So our treatment is more effective. And for identification of organism, PCR can be carried out in a very specific laboratory. Treatment, antimicrobial drugs, that is fluoroquinolones, tetracycline, macrolides. Control in endemic area, these 2 points are very important: biosecurity and hygiene. We have seen some cases of udder edema also, which occur after parturition in some high-yielding goats. And nowadays, people are raising for their family demands of milk, in particularly Jamnapari, which produces about 1.5 kg in the morning and 1.5 kg in the evening. We have seen some udder edema cases also. In such cases, udder is cold, fits on pressure. If you apply the pressure, there is some depression and difficulty in milk. Treatment comprises both compression and diuretics. So I am showing some pictures. This is a normal picture of Barbary goats. And here one thing in the picture, you can see that in our areas, I don't know in other areas, that this cotton cloth is applied over the udder and the teat, so that the young one cannot suckle off time milking. They remove this cloth there, because you know that if a young one suckle more milk, then there are chances of enterotoxemia. So in milking animals, such type of cloth bags are applied that will protect the goat teat also. But in sheep, there is no such practice, because sheep produces very less quantity of milk, particularly in this area, that is sufficient for its lambs. So this is one picture I have taken, that goat was having a 4 teeth and milk was coming. This is a congenital defect, and milk was coming out from all the 4 teeth. but it is a congenital defect. This goat actually having a warts as well as there was a subclinical mastitis. The owner gave the history that the milk production has decreased. When we carried out CMT, there was a inoculation, so we treated it as a subclinical mastitis. Otherwise, there was no swelling, milk grossly appearance, externally appearance, no. This is one goat where there is a fibrosis of the udder, and fibrosis of the udder can easily be diagnosed by if it is hard, indurated. So both the teeth are affected, whole udder is affected. There was a simply blood in fluid was coming out. Prognosis was great. That animal does not respond to it. This is a gangrenous mastitis. There is a on the early stage there is a whole painful swelling. Later on, it turns into fish discoloration, and even sometimes there is a sloughing of the affected teeth also, or both the teeth are also affected and sloughing. This is a udder edema where udder has enlarged severely, and if you apply equisome pressure, there is a difficulty in milking. Milk is normal, but if you give the treatment in 2 to 3 days, the animal become normal. In this picture, you can see that there was a complete sloughing of the one teeth due to gangrenous mastitis, and cause was Staph aureus CNS positive. This is here because the animal go for grazing. We find in some cases owner bring the animal with the laceration of the teeth. If there is no leakage, then there is no mastitis. Otherwise, we apply suture and dressing. The animal become normal. If there is a leakage of the milk from the affected teeth, so we give the treatment. But some cases does not be mastitis. And this is again one photo. Gangrenous mastitis. This is like a clinical mastitis where the clinical signs are visible, very old black and white season picture. This is a gangrenous mastitis where you can see that udder is bluish discoloration. So, as in gangrenous, the blood supply is apparatus, whole udder gone, no milk. Ultimately, the animal is used for salvage purpose. This is another case of clinical mastitis where then I come to one by one bacterial diseases of sheep and goat. Brucellosis is a problem as it is zoonotic. We carried out in for PG student program a survey, take the sample from slaughter houses. Sometimes we found that this problem is with the owner as well as with goat also. So the etiology is Brucella balitensis and obese. As it is zoonotic, sometimes it also causes the brucellosis in domestic animal. This is the one disease I think I doubt, though there is a one national program for control of brucellosis, but as this disease is present in cattle, where this ban on slaughter of these cattle. So these animals, small animals, we can dispose of by slaughter or by other way, euthanization. Generally, no euthanasia is carried out. But to human people, this is a big problem. It's challenging for veterinarians that if there is a person that try to carry out serum sample, if it is positive, then we have to give the instruction that the owner can get the infection from vaginal discharge. So transmission is concerned that the young one can get the infection, and it can be get by ingestion, by contact with infected placenta, vaginal discharge or milk. Clinical signs, abortion in the last 2 months, weak bone, dams and pit, hygroma of the knee joints in male, and in male there is otitis and epididymis. Diagnosis, isolation, special lab is required. Serological test, which we are generally carried out by Rose Bengal, test, complement fixation test. This one test I have heard in the book, I have seen in the book what is skin hypersensitivity test for heart diagnosis, whether it is carried out in India or not. But this is mentioned in the latest edition of the book that skin hypersensitivity test is very good for heart diagnosis for for brucellosis. This is a photo where one ram was presented for a swelling, painful enlargement of the both the testicle, and it is a orchitis. When we tested its blood sample serum examination, it was positive for brucellosis. As far as treatment is concerned, this is also very important, because in human being treatment is given, but in our veterinary practice treatment is not recommended and it is not advised. What is the reason? One reason it may be that as per the book it is written that the drug does not penetrate into the cell. So even one, because there is no 100% recovery in human being as well as in animals. So because our large animals are used in EI, so for treatment is concerned for brucellosis, so we can check the abortion with antibiotics. But for there is no treatment for tuberculosis, paratuberculosis, brucellosis. Only in sheep and goat we can carry out easily euthanasia of the affected animals. Then, as far as vaccination is concerned in sheep and goat, I don't know what is the status, because the one vaccine is available, Brucella abortus strain 19, which we are using in our large animal. But in most countries, they are using this RAV1 strain vaccine for Brucella mellitus. Its availability, I don't know. And what is the government policy for vaccination in sheep and goat? This is, I have no idea. Then this is also a big problem in our Rajasthan, that we have a large population of sheep and goat. Its synonym is puppy disease or eating disease caused by Clostridium perfringens type D. This organism is present in the intestine and does not cause the disease unless other factors that is intercede and promote proliferation of the toxin. And this toxin is highly toxic in the sense it damages the blood vascular system. Goats of all ages are affected. Generally, lambs 3 to 10 weeks of age are more affected. Lambs and kids are more affected, which are in good health, grazing on less rapidly growing pasture after rainy season. And these are the two conditions which are responsible for this enterotoxemia in our area, particularly in pastured goat, that we send our animal after rainy season for grazing. So there is availability of plenty of grazing. And vaccination is not successful in goat. Even some books say that even if you carry out this ET vaccine 3 times a year, still there is an outbreak of enterotoxemia in goat. But in sheep, this ET vaccine worked very nicely. Then you know that in our area, that particularly after this, after cutting of the crop from the field, animals go for grazing. There is the grains are available in cultivator during harvesting. So when they ingest large number, there is a outbreak among that flow. So these 2 points, if we check, this is only possible in the intensive farming, where we can give the restricted diet and the animal will not able to take excess this green succulent pasture or grains. Then various clinical signs in various forms have been reported that in pigs there is a peracute form, fever, diarrhea, dysentery, depression, severe clonic convulsion, opisthotonous death. Animal found dead without showing any clinical signs. Less acute chronic cases. Adult either die or recover in 2 to 4 days. It depends upon the severity. Chronic form remain ill for several weeks, and in some cases there is dysentery also. As I told you, disease can occur even if animal have been vaccinated twice, then outbreak also has been occur in our clinical pathology. This is very good finding that even without any isolation of organism, if any field work carried out, examine the urine for glucose, that is glycosuria, or blood examination, as this has been told in previous lecture from one of our speaker, or if your postmortem is done, then gram stain smear of ingesta will give a beautiful picture, large number of organisms are present. These are other complicated tests, but this in field condition, these two tests can be easily carried out. That is glycosuria with the help of a reagent strip. Postmortem finding in per-acute cases, no gross lesion. This is a very important finding. If any person conducts the postmortem, then he will be able to see the extra-colored fluid in pericardial shape and thoracic fluid in excess. Petechial hemorrhages and the epicardium, endocardium. Pulmonary edema is also a finding that can be done. Pulpy kidney, but this pulpy kidney, if the postmortem is carried out after 6 to if the postmortem is not carried out within 2 hours, then even in healthy animals there is a pulpy kidney. So this is not a sign, but as it has been mentioned, if PM is carried out within 2 hours, then pulpy kidney is suggestive for ET. And you will find that there is excess grain is present in the rumen and green powder. This is a reagent strips for urine analysis is available in the market. There are two types. It is H8, that means there are 8 pads which any field vet can examine the urine for 8. That is pH, specific gravity, ketone, glucose, leukocytes, nitrate, RBC, etc. So I think every field vet should have this reagent strip in his practice kit. This will help in diseases of the urinary system also, as well as ketosis, as well as this glycosuria. This is one beautiful picture showing the presence of extraocular fluid in the pericardial shaft. Then in this picture, this frozen, you can differentiate by this pulmonary edema, that if the lungs are heavy as compared to healthy animals, and if you give the incision, there is a froth and fluid is exuded out from the incision point. As far as treatment is concerned, my personal experience, treatment is not effective because the antitoxin is not available in the market. Earlier, I think in 80s or 70, this hyperimmune was available for so many diseases. Nowadays, it is not available, so most of the animal die. Sulfadignidine or any other antibiotic may be tried, but the results are not encouraging. Control is reduction of feed intake, regular vaccination, very good for sheep, but again, in goat, the vaccination is question mark. But to some extent, if vaccination is carried out, and if we restrict the ration, then there are less chances. Some sporadic cases we also see in both sheep and goat. High motility, clinical signs. Generally, it occurs after shearing, docking, and castration. Logza, muscle stiffness, prolapse of the third eyelid, very important, very diagnostic sign. Generally, otherwise it does not occur in other conditions. This logza and prolapse of third eyelid, dilated nostril, in later stages, sour posture, tonic convulsion. A veterinarian should know what is tonic convulsion when the legs are completely stiff. There are two types of convulsion, tonic and clonic. Particularly in polioencephalomalacia, you will find there is a totoclonic convulsions, paddling movement. Otherwise, in case of tetanus, the whole body becomes so stiff that there is a sour posture. And ultimately, animal dying, treatment is not effective. This is one goat showing the stiff tail, legs, logza condition. Clinically, we can have treatment. Treatment is recommended in the book, but its efficacy is question mark because it is a costly affair. I don't know. In our area now, this TAT or ATs is not available. Only for human being also that globulin is available, which is very costly. And the cost of 500 units is about 600. Earlier, this TAT was available, prepared from the horse. Then relaxation of muscle. These are the three standard treatments that you eliminate the organism. But the book says that once the clinical sign appears, the efficacy is question mark. Treatment is not effective at all. But you can give this penicillin. That is, there are three types of penicillin. That is, crystalline penicillin is given at the dose rate of 44,000. Whereas procaine penicillin and this long-acting penicillin are not given. And its half-life, benzyl penicillin is 6 hours, so it is to be repeated 4 times in a day. Differential diagnosis: hypomagnesemia, polyencephalomalacia, enterotoxemia. Then anthrax is not present in Rajasthan. I have not seen a case because there is one standard guidelines that in those areas where no anthrax is present, vaccination is not carried out routinely as far as other diseases are concerned. Then paratuberculosis or Crohn's disease is a major problem in Rajasthan in sheep. But as I told you that these animals can be disposed of, treating it as a chronic wasting disease. Everyone knows etiology, mycobacterium, high prevalence in sheep. Even this disease is present in organized farm. This is questionable that why disease is prevalent in organized farm. Transmission through ingestion, clinical signs, long incubation period, animals. The beauty of this disease is that the appetite is normal, temperature is normal, animals are alert, but progressively it goes down. There is increased thirst in sheep. There is a shedding of the wool, ultimately emaciation and death. There is no treatment. Postmortem finding, there is a thickening and corrugation of the large intestine, the large lymph node, carcass is emaciated, loss of the pericardial and perirenal fat, foci of coagulation and calcification of intestine wall. Diagnosis: if you want to do the screening of your herd, this intradermal test, antigen is available in the market, you can get it out. But you want to have to differentiate it from tuberculosis and avian tuberculosis. But jaded staining pieces is carried out. Culture is very difficult, but PCR is can diagnose. But once if disease is present in any farm, it is very difficult. There is no treatment for this disease. Paratuberculosis control is the only culling of affected animals. This is practiced by the owner. Even organized farm is also doing the same practice. Sanitation management practice is required. Then among the viral diseases, PPR is very important and causing heavy mortality. Actually, the whole sheep and goat population of Rajasthan is not covered, so some outbreak is there. We go for diagnosis, then we get it out vaccination. This is acute and subacute viral disease of sheep and goat. Virus is present in all secretion and excretion, transmission by close contact, goat and more severe signs as compared to the sheep. These are the some common fever, restless, dull cold. This is very important clinical sign. There is a filtered odor from the congested conjunctiva. Nephrotic stomatitis also. One can easily diagnose by clinical signs in live or dead animals. Diarrhea, subnormal temperature, ileal stages. Morbidity and mortality is higher in young animals. Postmortem finding conjunctivitis, stomatitis, nephrotic lesion in the inside the lower lip, adjust to gum, cheek, ventral surface of the tongue, large intestine, rectum. There is zebra stripping appearance. Very good finding. In one outbreak, I have taken some photos that it's this shape. There is a nasal discharge, conjunctivitis. Erosive stomatitis, showing the involvement of the gums. Even tongue is also involved. This is in one symptom which is not mentioned in the book, I don't know. But I have seen in sheep and goat in PPR outbreak, there is corneal opacity. Because there is a severe conjunctivitis, mucopurulent discharge. But this word as a corneal opacity is not mentioned in any book. But I have seen in the sheep and goat both also. This is a corneal opacity in sheep. The lesion tip of the tongue is involved. This is zebra stripping of the rectum. If you don't open the lining, are also visible closely. In one case, I have seen that some epicardial abrasions, very characteristic, is visible in this picture. Diagnosis again, clinical findings are characteristic, postmortem findings are characteristic, virus isolation difficult, but this PPR test can be easily diagnosed in. But I don't know the need of these tests because disease can be diagnosed by clinical signs and postmortem. Generally, we give antibiotic to check the secondary infection, supporting treatment, fluid therapy. If the vaccine is carried out, this is the, I think, among sheep and goat, the first disease where single dose is required, there is no booster dose is required, and because it is endemic. Whether it is, I don't know what practices to be adopted, whether it is to be given every year or every 3 years. Some say that it should be given every 3 years, some say every year. But first dose is given at the age of 3 months. Then these CPOX and goatpox is also a big problem in spite of vaccination. What is the reason? I don't know. Whether vaccination is not properly carried out because there is one problem in animals, that is cold chain maintained is not proper at field level. Transmission, airborne, direct contact, even insect bite can transmit. Then the clinical signs, these are varies from sheep, it is 4 to 8 days, goat 5 to 14 days. There are two forms. One is malignant and another is benign. In malignant form, there is a initial sign, depression, prostration, high fever, discharge from eye node. Affected lamb may die during this stage. Fox lesion down upon unwound skin, buccal, digestive, or urinary tract. Lesion start as a papule, then nodule, pustule. Everybody knows the scab formation. Some lesion progress from nodule to fluid-like mass. Morbidity rate is about mortality is 50% in malignant form. In benign form, more common in adult, only skin lesions occur under the tail, most systematic reaction is 3 to 4 weeks. Abortion and secondary pneumonia are also there. In sheep, infection in goatpox is more severe than sheeppox, with lesion on the legs, oral between the teeth and other. I have conducted one postmortem in outbreak. There is hemorrhagic enteritis in sheeppox. The lesion was very characteristic. It is a malignant form. This is also hemorrhagic enteritis. The contents, serosa also hemorrhagic intestinal content. Hemorrhagic enteritis, you can see that there was a dysentery, perineal region is spoiled with blood stain feces. This is hemorrhagic intestinal contents coming out from this. In this case, this blood taints the fluid was. So the difference that in case of ET it is extracolor, whereas in the sheeppox it was a blood taint. This is a one postmortem find. Then young kids, systematic disease. I think everyone is know with this disease, clinical signs. One it can easily diagnose with clinical signs, but for academic purpose, isolation of the virus can be carried out. Then fluorescent antibody test is there, agar there. Postmortem finding, I have already explained you that there is a in malignant form of lesion extend into mouth, pharynx, larynx, trachea, vagina, with lungs, rheumatism, and hemorrhagic arthritis is also there. Treatment and the antibiotic, because it is a viral disease, we have no option except to antibiotic drugs symptomatic. But vaccination is carried out effectively under all standard conditions. Then this is the third viral disease affecting large population, contagious Tanwar, because some district there is a 100% morbidity, but case fatality rate is less. Transmission is very fast by contact with or inanimate objects. There are papule, pustule, scab, covering ulceration, lesion begun at oral mucocutaneous junction, spread to the muzzle and oral cavity also. Lamb cannot suck and creates malignant form occurs in invasion of the alimentary tract, lesion on coronal, ears, anus, and vulva. This is one picture where there is a contagious Tanwar. Diagnosis by clinical sign varies. Treatment, remove of the scab, and then apply ointment or any astringent preparation. Healing is delayed, so provide soap palatable food, or you can give antihistamine, antimicrobial, or non-steroid. I have seen sporadic cases of rabies also because we have a large population of stray dogs everywhere in Rajasthan, in everywhere. Disease is transmitted by the bite of the infected dog, fox, wolf, mangoose, because we have a large population of mangoose in our grazing area. So sometimes large animal or small animals owner give history that his animal, if he has seen that mangoose bite, because mangoose is such an animal which have a natural antidote. In case of fighting of snake and mongoose, we have seen that if the snake bite, there is no mortality in mongoose. Clinical signs, average 10 days, incubation period, the course is 3 days. After the appearance of clinical signs, the animal will 100% die within 3 days, as after appearance of clinical signs, no people. Muzzle and head tremor, hyperexcitability, hyperesthesia, salivation, sexual excitement, attacking human each other. And this is very characteristic finding that in case of sheep, there is a biggest spoon bullying in case of sheep in rabies, whereas in case of goat, there is a self-biting as it occurs in horse. Otherwise, in other animals, in rabies, there is no self-biting. And suddenly animal will fall and then there is one more difference. In sheep, there is no accessibility, whereas in goat, there is a continuous bleeding in rabies in goat. Diagnosis easily carried out by clinical sign, fluorescent antibody test. If you take this, even CSF from Atlant, so possible to join by injecting 14 goes middle after the death of the animals and prepare a smear. The euthanasia can be carried out. And if you have a specific laboratory, then this RT-PCR test can detect decomposed brain cells that were negative by the direct FAT. But at field level, FAT is also not available. The field vet have no option. Treatment after occurrence of clinical sign, no post-exposure vaccination. If the owner comes with the history that his animal has been by rabid dogs or even by normal dogs, I think our dogs are carrier, then we should our this standard post-exposure 5 injection, that is 0, 5, 7, 14 and 28 days. Control stray dog population, which is very difficult in India. Vaccination of the dogs. Again, stray dog vaccination is how much successful. Wildlife vaccination is also question mark, but in some European countries, they say that wildlife vaccination by carried out by this rat bat. Then protozoan diseases, babesiosis, as I told you, there is a history of hemoglobinuria, and the treatment is only one thing that veterinarians must know what is the difference between hematuria and hemoglobinuria. In hemoglobinuria, the urine is coffee, but black tea is But hematuria, if you it is red, and if you keep it for some time, there is a formation of a one under test tube. There is the formation of RBC group. One is if you centrifuge it, there is this formation of one. You can say button. Sign is very characteristic, and treatment is also 100% effective. Imaging for Berinil is given at the dose rate of 3.5 milligram per kg body weight, deep intramuscular, but 2 injection is required. Or if you want to give 1 injection at 12 milligram per kg body weight. But again, blood transfusion and hematinic is problem. But if in animal is growth at early stage, then there is no requirement of blood transfusion or any hematinic. But oral hematinic can be given factor of control. Coccidiosis, as I told you, it is a self-limiting but causes heavy mortality in the adults and kids. So there are some species transmission through ingestion. Clinical signs, there is a diarrhea with foul smelling, containing mucus and blood. Foul smelling also occur in salmonellosis. Blood may appear as dark berry staining from feces. Large clots of blood may present. Severe staining, rectal prolapse may also occur. Diagnosis, fecal examination, easily can be diagnosed. Sulfadimidine therapy can be given. Control in coccidio state can be given. Management of the environment of this shade. Sulfadimidine, the sulfonamide can be given in the feed for 15 days at the base rate of 25 to 35. Then this is also a major problems. Hemoptysis in sheep and goat. Severe anemia is there, and in abomasum, this organism is present. If postmortem is carried out, it is closely visible. The grotesque, the economic impact is seen in more in sheep, particularly in tropical and warmer countries, especially where there is a good summer and rainfall. In sheep, losses occur mostly in lamb, but yearling and mature sheep may be affected. Goats of any age are susceptible because their browsing habit may protect them. So, number of cases are more in sheep as compared to goats. Clinical sign: animal may be found dead without pre-nominatory sign. I think in veterinary practice we have so many diseases like anthrax, ET, etc., where we found those clinical signs. So in hemoptysis, though it is this internal parasite that is nematode, but in per acute form, animal found dead without pre-nominatory sign. There is a pale mucosa. And we see also chronic cases where there is muscular weakness, but here the bottle jaw is a very characteristic. If any animal having a bottle jaw, you can suspect it for worm infestation. These are the some characteristic signs that in flow, the affected sheep lag behind, increased aspiration, staggering weight, constipation, loss of body weight, poor quality immune growth. Diagnosis, fecal examination. EPG load is more than 10,000 per gram. Fecal culture, this is a lab. If PCR can be done. Postmortem, severe anemia, gelatinization of fat deposit, anasarca, large number of parasites in the animal. So this is one patient is showing brown color humongous contributors in sheep. And this is a abomasum where large number of brown humongous contributors are present. Abomasal wall is hyperemic, blood clot may present with the mucosa, small ulceration in the abomasum, which can occur in other conditions also. Treatment is effective if regular treatment with these 7 or 8 dewormers, that is ivermectin, albendazole. But question, there is a one question asked so many times: how many times a deworming is done? So generally, for confinement animal, 2 times a year can be done. But some say that deworming should be carried out thrice or 4 times a year. That is before monsoon, after monsoon, animal go for grazing. But again, we have to see it because as per there is a development of antibiotic drug resistance is there. Similarly, sometimes even after deworming, the fishes are contain large number of fats. So we have to think for whether there is a drug resistance problem is not or not. Then I have seen facialis outbreak in goat also. As I told you that these sheep are not brought for treatment in our hospital. So most maximum cases are seen in goats. But outbreak we have attended in sheep also. Facialis hepatica. Here that the availability of intermediate host is essential. If no snail is available, no liver fluid problem. Clinical signs, there are two types, sudden death, weight loss. So any case, if there is a sudden death, you should carry out the postmortem. If large number of population is affected, then you will find that this liver fluid is one cause of sudden death. Then some mandibular in chronic form, there is some mandibular edema, but it occurs in other nematodes also. So this is a trematode. Fecal examination, postmortem finding include badly damaged swollen liver, blood stained fluid in the peritoneal cavity, small perforation in the liver capsule. These are the only possible if any field vet have interest to diagnose the disease, but he has some idea, a large number of population. Here you can take a slicing of liver and you can examine it for fluke. In chronic form, liver are grossly enlarged, bile ducts are thickened, and even I have seen in gallbladder liver fluid are present. So here for a very one important point for field vet, that field vet understand that broad spectrum dewormer care all take care of all these nematode, trematode, and cystode. This is not the truth. For liver fluke, these are the one specific drug, triclobendazole, which is effective against mature and immature. This is only one drug which is effective against. Otherwise, oxychloroquine is very effective against mature worm. So it is to be repeated after 15 days or 1 month, so that the larval stage is become mature. Otherwise, you can use albendazole, clozapine. As far as drug of choice is concerned, triclobendazole and oxychloroquine are the two drugs. For trematode or nematode, all ivermectin will not take care of your this liver fluid. Keep it in mind. Avoid animal in grazing area where water body containing snails are present. Because in our Rajasthan, animal go for grazing, the source of drinking water is common, ponds, etc., where large number of snails are present. Then one problem can be, this problem can be solved fencing the area, but how where the animal will drink. This is a one point to control it. Then I have seen some cases of esophagostosis, that is a nodular worm disease, pimply gut. And I told you that we have a big problem of nematode, trematode, and cystode. So esophagostomum columbianum, this is also known as a pimply gut disease, severe persistent diarrhea in young ones. Loss of condition, elevation of the tail, stiffness of the tail, diagnosis of larva. You will find in this case larva are present in large number in the fishes. Fecal culture are only possible in the laboratory. Then postmortem finding in acute cases, bite, catarrhal enteritis. Larva may be detectable in sputum. In chronic cases, adult worm in thick mucus, nodules on intestinal cirrhosis. That contain green pasty, yellow brown, partially calcified material, treatment, all ivermectin, albendazole can be used. This is a very beautiful photo of a sheep intestine where the nodule are present on the cirrhosis. External parasite, I think this is some cases, because in our area is a dry area, so some cases we seen mange also. So there are three types of mange: sarcoptic mange, where the lesions are present on the face. Early lesions are characterized by presence of small red papules, general edema, itchiness, loss of hair, thick brown hair, thickening and wrinkling. This is one photo. You can see that in sarcoptic males where the eyes, ear is affected. Good treatment is available: ivermectin, moxidectin, doramectin. Repeat after 10 days. Very good result. Then one zoonotic male, we call it a sheep scab. This is the major disease of sheep. Etiology Zerograzing ovis. In goat, it is commonly an ear mite present in the external ear canal. In sheep, lesion may be found in any part of the body. In the older lesion, thin yellow crust are present and wool commences to shed. Itchiness, loss of body weight, weakness, and death may occur. Treatment as for sarcoptic males. This third type is polyoptic males. In sheep, it affects the scrotum and may cause decrease in fertility. And allergic dermatitis result in serious exudate from the scrotum. Treatment is shared as sarcoptic male. Now, I think I will take little bit time because again, this topic is also very vast. So hardly I will cover this disease of respiratory system, that is pneumonia is a problem caused by bacteria, viruses, mycoplasma, parasite. I think verminous pneumonia, we have to see that because there is a verminous pneumonia, antibiotic will work, it will not work at all. It can be acute, chronic, progressive. Then the viruses also play a role like parainfluenza, adenovirus, respiratory syncytial virus, viral pneumonia affect lamb and kid mostly. Then I don't know what is the status of bovine progressive pneumonia and maybe Vishna in India. Then one capine arthritis and encephalitis is also there. I have not seen this case. Then bovine pulmonary adeno, I don't know what is the status, but in pneumonia, these are the reasons which we have to see. This is the major problems. In every year, as the winter starts, we see the cases of this contagious capine pneumonia, highly fatal disease of goat. Etiology is mycoplasma, capricornum, capri pneumonia, mycoplasma mycoids. Transmission through aerosol. As the name itself, it is highly contagious. Even morbidity up to 100%. Mortality is 60 to 100%. Clinical signs: weakness, anorexia, cough, nasal discharge, dyspnea, fever, open mouth breathing, foggy salivation, lesion extraocular, pleural exudate in the thoracic cavity, pneumonic lungs, marbled appearance of the lungs. These are characteristic postmortem findings. That this is the one disease you will where found the pleural exudate in the thoracic cavity and marbled appearance, means the fibrin appear as a marbled appearance on the external parietal visceral pleura. Diagnosis by clinical signs: PM finding, isolation of the organism. Again, this is a difficult task, specific laboratory can do it. Here, these drug of choice, that tylosin is very effective, or oxytetracycline, but the main thing that it should be at the dose rate of 15 milligram per kg body weight, or you can give for both combination tylosin and oxytetracycline in case of CCPP. Control, quarantine, and vaccination. There is no vaccination in India for CCPP. Quarantine, I think the flock owner have no facility to quarantine the affected animals. So ultimately, all the animals are available. In Rajasthan, we have one facility that there is a free drug for animals. So the owner comes and takes the oxytetracycline and inject all the animals its own. Then these are the Pastula and male hernia pneumonia is also, though it is it comes in infectious disease, causing heavy mortality in all the age group. Common cause of morbidity and mortality in lambs and pigs who have not received adequate colostrum. This is very important point that we should advocate the flock owner that the young ones should get the colostrum within 2 hours. Otherwise, then as we delay the absorption of the antibody from the colostrum is not as effective as within 2 hours. So those lambs and kids who get colostrum within 2 hours, their passive immunity status will be better and they are more protected as compared to those who receive less adequate or less colostrum. I think hardly there is a mixed infection of all these para-influenza respiratory viruses are responsible for its pneumonia in animals. So there are two types. CCCPP is common, but in CCPP also they can also occur because this Pseudomonas multocida and Manhemia hemolytica are present normally in animals. Whenever there is a stress of transportation or the season, then there is a precipitation of the disease. Clinical signs: depression, lethargy, inappetence, sudden death also separated from the remaining flows. Fever, congested mucous membrane, probably fluid around the mouth. So in both, I have seen some cases that there is a suppurative pneumonia which does not respond to treatment at all. Then this is a pulmonary this suppurative pneumonia. Even if histopathologically we carried out, sometimes I have seen that tuberculosis is also there in both. Then lesions are concerned subcutaneous systematic hemorrhages. Lungs are heavy, swollen, purple red in for acute cases, contain blood stain for diagnosis by clinical sign, postmortem lesion culture. Treatment. Again, as I have mentioned, that bacterial culture for field method, it is very difficult. You can use any antibiotic available, oxytetracycline, tyrosine, or chlor, this ciprofloxacin or fluoxacin, whichever is there, along with antibiotic, non-steroid and inflammatory drug, overcrowding, poor nutrition, one factor. But when our animals are raised only on grazing, then definitely nutrition is always poor. Vaccination for pasteurization. I don't think that in flock there is a vaccination for pasteurization as in cattle and sheep. The nasal sheep boat already have listed by Ashok in one of his Sathya Zerograzing group. This is also a problem. These that diseases of digestive systems are very common. That is, indigestion is 3 types: simple, acid, and alkaline indigestion, based on human pH. So a field vet should always have a pH strip. Normal human pH is 6.8, 7.4. Simple indigestion occurs due to change of diet. It is easily cured by simple stomachic drug. But acid indigestion is a big problem. That is accidental ingestion, particularly those sheep which are raised in for milk purpose in the house. Owner come with history that this goat has consumed excess grain, wheat grain, or sometimes flour, wheat flour, or sometimes even rice also. So if the amount is excess, or even pH is 4.5, then one can carry out rhinotomy. Otherwise, no treatment is effective at all. I have tried so many treatments. Ultimately, animal will die due to this metabolic acidosis. Owner does not agree for rhinotomy, and by giving the standard treatment of immunoacidosis at pH 4.4, no response. Alkaline indigestion occur rarely, but if there is a excessive ingestion of legume grains in post-harvest field. But always keep one thing in mind, that any animals, if it remains for 4 to 6 days, the pH will be always alkaline. So what we do, that we have seen in our practice, that when we collect the human liquor, the pH is always alkaline, 8.29. So actually, this is not a case of alkaline indigestion in the sense, as you know, that salivation is a continuous process, even if animal remain outfed. Even in cattle and buffalo, there is a 60 to 80 liter salivation, whereas in sheep and goat, there is a 5 liter saliva daily accretion that goes to the human directly. So if you collect the human sample, that is not representative for alkaline indigestion, but as far as treatment is concerned, we have to correct the human pH using the vinegar. Treatment for simple indigestion, immunotoric drugs, calcium thiamine preparation, because calcium monogluconate, if we give 50 ml to 100 ml, it will increase the immunity motility. Similarly, B1 is also increase the human motility. Or our this herbal preparation are also good. Acid indigestion, correct the human pH. So there is a two thing that if you give soda bicarb, then the human pH will become more acidic because soda bicarb will break down and there is a liberation of carbon dioxide. But for intravenous, we have to give 1.3% sodium bicarbonate, even up to 1 liter or 2 liter. We have to check the dehydration with normal saline or this electrolyte. Oral antibiotic is very essential to check the growth of lactic acid producing bacteria. If we will not give oral antibiotic, then the production of lactic acid will continue and it will ultimately lead to metabolic acidosis. Antihistamine also play a very good role because large amount of histamine released in the human. So lastly, rheumatommy, if owner agree, then it can be carried out. Then arthritis is also a common problem. It will respond to well treatment. Only problem is there that we don't know. So we give the antibiotic as well as the dewormer at the same time. If there is a severe dehydration, then we can give fluid therapy. Or otherwise, antibiotic and deworming should be given at the same time because we don't know whether the diarrhea is due to viruses, bacteria, or gas. Then I have seen a few cases of cystitis, urethritis, urolithiasis is also a common problem in goat. But a veterinarian should examine the penis of the goat or for urethral process because some cases I have seen that there is obstruction of urethral process with mucus plug. If you simply give the this anterior portion is cut with the scissor, the urine will come out. So the veterinarian should check it urethral process because otherwise we always think that there is a urolithiasis. And so this simply cutting of urethral process at the anterior point will relieve the animal from urine retention. Again, I have given the title miscellaneous condition. It is also problem because these goat they are intermediate host. Stray population of dog is very large number. Having tapeworm, their eggs are taken up by goats, sheep. So they give the foreign bodies. I think this is the first report. I will show you in photos. Generally, we suspect that foreign bodies are present in goat, in cattle and buffalo, but I have seen in goat also. Bladder worm in peritoneal cavity, polyencephalomalacia is a common problem, but as the beauty of this polyencephalomalacia that it responds to treatment within 6 to 8 hours. Owner come with history that his animal was normal in the evening and after returning from grazing. In morning, he found paddling movement, nervous signaling, and immediately we give thiamine, right? So veterinarian should use the preparation which contain only berry because the dose is 10 to 15 milligram and it can be given at 2 to 3 points. Earlier there was an IV preparation, but nowadays this injection berry is available, so it should be given even if it is given excess, no toxicity because the water soluble B complex is excess secreted in the urine. I have seen only one case of subcutaneous amphysin. Snake bite, occasionally owner bring this goat along with the snake and we give anti-snake venom. The animal was alright. Infection of feet also occurs. Sometimes there is a swelling between cheek and teeth in goat and ear mange in the goat. So I will show you one photo that whenever there is a nervous sign, blindness, circling, you should examine the skull for verification of the skull bone. You catch hold the animal in between your legs, apply the pressure behind the horn. Here you can see one thing, I don't know whether you have observed it or not, that the goats, maybe sheep also, they change its people shape twice a day. In the afternoon, it become round. In the morning it is round, and in the afternoon it is a elliptical shape. So see why there is a change in the people of goat. So this is a photo of goat which was having a sewing needle in the oropharyngeal region. So the sewing needle is clearly visible in the neck region. Another photo where heart is clearly visible, diaphragm is clearly visible, all bodies are present in the base of the reticle. Then this is also a picture showing a sewing needle in the rumen as well as a body of opaque material in the reticle. This is also one having a swelling at the neck region. When we take the X-ray, sewing needle is present. This is one beautiful photo of cysticerous tuniculus containing single scolex in the pericardial cavity. This is actually the main tapeworm is the teeny hydatiginna, which is present in the dog when the sheep ingest the egg of these tapeworm. It reaches to the intestine, then it reaches to the liver, and ultimately at postmortem examination you will find such type of tubes, but it damages the liver to large extent. This is early stage. It confused with tetanus, but this animal when given thiamine, because this animal have not adopted later recumbency. This is again here characteristic finding opisthotonus, nystagmus, strabismus, paddling movement. Very characteristic finding. You give thiamine, animal will respond within 6 to 8 hours. This is one photo because my PhD work was on polyencephalomalacia. That if animal died due to polyencephalomalacia, and if you cut the slice of the brain, if you have a wood slab, this will give green fluorescence. If you don't have a wood slab, you cannot diagnose by seeing this fluorescence. This was one case. Cutaneous emphysema, a goat was examined, and the reason may be leakage of the air from the lung, might be tracheal injury, and we give 2-3 incisions, and ultimately after 2 to 3 days, this animal becomes normal. We give penicillin to check the clostridial infection because air, we have to remove the air, otherwise it causes the respiratory stress. This was one case where this snake bite the goat tongue, and owner bring the animal as well as viper along with him after killing the viper. So we give anti-snake venom, and animal become all right after 2 to 3 days. 2 vials were given. This is one case where I told you that infection of feed in between cheek and there is a swelling. So we should examine the oral cavity and we find remove this infected mass between cheek and gums. This is a ear nail in goat. In last slide, in the flock of sheep and goat, if any animal is suffering from chronic wasting syndrome, such animals should be culled immediately. The major cause of chronic wasting include poor nutrition, parasitism, dental problem, paratuberculosis, internal visceral abscesses due to coronary bacterium pseudotuberculosis, locomotor problems, chronic hidden infection, metritis, peritonitis, pneumonia. These diseases are rarely treatable and many are contagious like your paratuberculosis.